This one is an exercise that I like to use a lot with beginners who are just learning to kind of use their posterior chain on their legs, right? So getting a little bit more hamstring and glute activation. This is a really good way to go about starting that. And so what this is called is a hip up, and then I'll show you a single leg hip up as well. And what that looks like is we're going to lay on the floor right next to a bench that we're then going to go ahead and put our heels up on top of. Now, something to keep in mind whenever you do this is that I want you to constantly be pulling your toes back towards your face, right? So we call that dorsiflexion, always keeping that tension there, not pointing, because that'll put a little tension on our calves that we're not necessarily looking for. So toes are back, my back's flat on the floor. I can put my hands out to the side to kind of stabilize myself a little bit here. But then all I'm doing, guys, is just squeezing my butt and pushing my hips up towards the ceiling. Now, I might even have my athletes kind of tense up their core a little bit. And the reason for that is if these muscles are active, that means these ones can't be working at the same time because they do opposing motions. And what we don't want on this is for us to push up and get a big arch in our back. That's not what we're looking for. We want to feel that tension from our glutes down to our hamstrings. So, little tension in the core, that the abs are tight. We just drive until we can't extend any further with our hamstrings, but instead it's going to be in our back. We don't need that, so we're going to stop there. Back down to the floor. Up and squeeze, lighting up my hamstrings like crazy here. Back down to the floor. Now, as I said, that's a two-leg variation. As we get a little bit more control over that and a little bit stronger, we can take one leg out of the equation, and that off leg is just going to hover. We're not going to move it really at all because that can be a way for us to throw momentum into the movement. We don't need it. It's just going to float here, but it's the same thing. I'm just driving down in the back of that foot and back down. Pushing the hips up, squeezing my butt, squeeze my hamstrings, and back down, and then the same thing, obviously, on the other leg as well. Just squeezing the hamstring and butt, and coming back down to the floor. And that's it, guys. Those are a hip up and a single leg hip up.